Watchers in the fourth dimension.
They've discovered a way of extracting life's force.
Perhaps they thought you were a patient. I wouldn't like to be a patient in their hands.
These people whom you call savages are our equals. What we have done to them is wrong.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Watchers in the Fourth Dimension. I'm Anthony.
I'm Diana.
I'm Alan.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Reilly.
And we have a full house again this bonus episode. As you just heard, we are welcoming our dear friend Alan Siler back to the show. Welcome back, Alan.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy.
I hope that you're doing well, my friend.
No.
No?
No, I am.
Terrible. I'm back on this fucking podcast. Well, this episode, we are going to be talking about the relatively recent animation of The Savages. But before we delve into the animation, a little history on this one. The original serial was, of course, broadcast on the BBC between the 28th of May and the 18th of June 1966. Like many Doctor Who serials of the time, following its British broadcast, it was sold on to other countries. We know it went to Australia, Barbados, Zambia, New Zealand, and finally Singapore, as well as Sierra Leone. And as we've discussed on previous episodes of the show, of course, the BBC had a policy of destroying material that they thought was no longer commercially viable. And it's believed that the BBC junked the final copies of The Savages in 1974 when the Sierra Leone prints were returned. In terms of home release, a narrated version of the soundtrack was released in November 2002, narrated by Peter Purves himself. Of course, those audio recordings exist thanks to the diligent efforts of Doctor Who fans from the 60s, who literally hooked up recording equipment to their TVs. A few clips survived, and they were released on the Lost in Time DVD box set in 2004. The animation was commissioned in September 2023 and was completed in January 2025 and was released in March of that year. And it was directed by Anne-Marie Walsh, who has been directing the traditionally animated releases since the Faceless ones in 2020. The 3D Nightmare Fuel is normally handled by someone else. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about it. And as a first question, which version did you all watch? The color or the black and white? We always ask this, and I need to know.
I did a combo, and so I actually watched it black and white, color, black and white.
All right.
Very similar for me. I always focus on the black and white, but I always also want to see what they've done with the color for whichever story I'm watching, because there's a lot of times where they do like really cool lighting effects and stuff in the color version that they then just grayscale, and it doesn't work as well in the black and white. So I always want to see how they've done both versions.
I'm a particular fan of the color grading of some of these animations. And so I like watching them in color because I like their color grading.
So episode 1, I did the reconstruction. Episode 2, narrated audio. Episode 3, I went to the target novel. And episode 4, ticker tape.
Jesus.
Nerd.
I did the color animation the whole way through.
Ah, wow. Okay, you've joined me. I'm usually the one that gets criticized for doing the all color because I'm a sick freak.
I know I did color for the Celestial Toy Maker, and I want to say the one before that as well. So I've been doing color for a while now.
I always watch them in color. I love them.
I do both. I will continue to do both, and I will die on that hill.
But there is one problem with the color that I noticed, at least this go around, is that at the very beginning of part 1, the color and the location kind of made it look like the beginning of a Roadrunner cartoon.
So I thought they were very heavily taking from like the colors and the general feel of 60s Star Trek and Lost in Space.
I can see that. Maybe more with Lost in Space, because if I remember correctly, Star Trek had a lot more like interesting color in the sky, in the background, while this didn't have that.
And for me, Galaxy 4 looked much more like Star Trek original series than any of the other animations have. Like that was almost like an inspiration that they were drawing from.
Yep.
That said, one thing I really appreciated about this animation is it does what I want these animations to do, and that's reimagine the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big sets, technology that they obviously couldn't realize on screen in the 60s, things like force fields. If you're going to animate it, have some cojones in doing it.
So I did take a quick look at some of the reconstructions. I didn't watch them in their entirety, but I do remember there were some things in episode 4 where I was like, ooh, there was a tiny bit of video that was kept. I also listened to our podcast.
Ah.
Ooh, doing the homework.
I know. Well, because I was sitting there watching it, and one of my first reactions was, I don't hate Dodo as much as I expected to.
Yes.
Did I hate her before in this particular story? And the answer was no. This was her best story, if I'm recalling correctly. And so it was just kind of nice. And also I got to listen to Dawn's voice again, which was a treat.
Aw.
So I didn't quite do it the same way because I didn't listen to our episode. But what I did do was I listened to the Doctor Who on the Rocks episode on the Savages.
Whoa. Unexpected, man.
I know, because I have a spreadsheet how me, Don, Julie, and Reilly all rated this, but I didn't have a record of how Diana did. So I went and dug that out. So I have a comparison for this.
I'm suddenly so stressed.
Well, Diana, you know I was a big fan of On the Rocks, so don't be stressed.
I find it interesting that this is the one where some of us decided to do different things with for whatever reasons. That's just kind of cool. And we were all over the place, apparently.
What did I rate it?
7.5, and you said that it was neat.
You know what?
Neat.
Yeah, we ranked them all neat or not. And I'm going to be real. When I was starting to watch this, I went, I have that feeling that there's every chance that a drunk Diana might have just been real anti all of the colonialism happening.
And you were.
Right. Yeah.
To be fair, you were, but you also said it's a commentary on colonialism.
Yeah, and it's good.
The thing you were hardest on from the original was the use of blackface.
I vividly got halfway through this and went, where is that fucker? Who was the fucker in the blackface?
Right.
And you and Jen had this long conversation about how Jen felt like she couldn't say that it was neat because of the blackface. And your reaction was effectively, yes, but this is a product of its time. I knew it was coming and I really like the story, so I can forgive it, was effectively what you said.
It is important to remember that the original title of this story was The White Savages.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And that was one of the things that I actually found interesting in the animation is that, A, they did take out the blackface. That's a choice that should have been made because the rest of the story communicates everything they're trying to say. But I did find it very interesting watching it now, where it rings a little truer and harder. The difference in what they're trying to say with the story and the colonialism that slips through in the writing that they just haven't shaken yet. As being 1960s writers in a colonialist society, that whole aspect of this story is fascinating to where it's an incredible piece. And I'm really appreciative that the animation took out the parts that were unnecessary, that can detract from what everything is actually saying.
Diana, just to kind of go back to what you said, you did say on the On the Rocks episode that when they animate this, you hoped that they would remove the blackface.
Nice. Good job, past Diana.
They did that, I'm sure, especially for you.
They listened.
They do.
Nice.
To go into what we might want to talk about is the animation styles itself.
Yes.
For the most part, obviously, this is a better style than some of our, long-armed friends that we've had in the past. I do think occasionally they go a little bit too far with some of the shading, especially I think the Doctor is shaded in a rather weird way. I don't necessarily think it's bad, but I do think they kind of over-exaggerated in some regards on some of the faces. However, expressive eyes and eyebrows, perfection.
I think this style of animation, they have steadily been getting better and better with each one they do. So they heard the criticism from Fury from the Deep about the overly long arms, and they fixed it.
Could they not see that for themselves?
Yes, but I suspect by that time it was too late because it was already made.
This is the first one where the people don't freak me out. I've always enjoyed these for their landscapes. I think they do an excellent job on landscapes. And then a biotic creature shows up and I go, ooh.
I must say, the red-headed savage, I'm here for it. Yeah.
I also had a comment that was, yes, Stephen is one of the most attractive companions because from a level of attractiveness, Stephen's very attractive.
However, I did think that this rendering of Stephen didn't look like Peter Purvis most of the time.
Well,
he's very handsome. He's very chiseled. Looks a bit more like Peter Purvis in profile, but front on, not so much.
Yeah, but is it better than the way he looked in Celestial Toymaker?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Celestial Toymaker was a fever dream, so yes.
I will still defend that choice because...
Oh, I do too.
Yes, but the whole story feels like a fever dream anyway. So giving it that level of surrealism, I think kind of works.
But was it right for them to put into the DVD that you should take acid before watching it? I think that was a bit too far.
Oh, you did acid? I just did shrooms.
While we're talking about the animation, maybe I was having a connectivity issue when I watched it because I was casting it from a laptop onto my television. Was anyone else have issues with syncing of their mouths to their voices? Did anyone have that problem?
No, I don't think so.
It looked pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I just had that at the beginning. No, all right. No criticism then. It's clear.
Okay.
No worries.
I will say that for me in general, one of the things that always has been sort of a problem with these animations is your general character movement. And I thought it was much better in this one. There was a lot more fluidity in their movement, in their facial features, everything. But I don't think that their likenesses were quite good. And especially that's true for me, for the Doctor, because I feel like, as Julie was talking about, I feel like it's almost like he looked too frail. And I know you get to that point later in this story as a narrative thing, but the whole thing, he just looked like his face was shrunken. And I didn't like it.
To your point with the movement and everything, there was definitely a point where I think one of the scientists or whatever is typing essentially, and he's pressing buttons, and they lined up the noise with the visual so perfectly. And I was like, that was a really, really good job. I agree with you on that.
There was one moment, though, where the motion was not so great. And that was when, in part one, Jano is up on like a raised kind of stepped altar kind of thing, the council. And after the TARDIS crew leaves, he walks down and his drop from each step looked really unnatural. Really looked like taking an animated like clip of a person like in a computer animation and just dropping them awkwardly. Like there's no gravity, there's no weight. It just kind of drops suddenly. It was very, very weird. But that was really the only bad part. They didn't make up for it in, I think, part 4 or part 3, where the Doctor is being aided to go up into the caves. But then again, they kind of cheated because you only see them from like the top half up. But they did a decent job in that point.
I would say that as far as character movement, even though for the most part it was much better, there are times when there's some limitations. And I think it's in part 4 where they're like trying to get away from the elders who are coming after them. And Stephen is like, hurry, get in, let's run. And they basically walk at the same pace that they've always been walking while he's telling them to hurry. And it's like, you're kind of missing the whole scene here.
And I didn't recall, because it has been, I looked it up, I think it was 5 years ago or just under 5 years ago when we covered the Savages. I think that was, I mean, that's what the dates on my notes say. And I don't recall so many scenes of no dialogue when we watched it the first time. So while watching with the animation, I was thinking, wow, this is really, really great because now I have an idea of what is happening instead of just music and no dialogue going forward. So in that realm of, is this a good lost serial for them to have animated? For at least the first 2 parts of the serial, absolutely, yes. There's a lot of downtime with no dialogue.
And the irony is we all really enjoyed this when we watched it the first time. And I do find that remarkable when you think about it. Although I will say, and yes, it was partially me listening to the podcast, but also me just noticing, and because we've been living in the 80s era, the music. The music was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
I enjoyed every moment. It was so good. Low strings. Oh, be still my heart. I was so happy.
Yeah, the strings are in the chase scene in part 4. I think one lone tear dropped down my face. It's like, oh God, I miss this so much.
Yeah.
You didn't even do that when Adric died.
That's right.
I think Reilly celebrated at that point, to be honest.
You know that meme of the guy in front of the gravestone flashing his sign? That's me.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I always worry when we do these because I know we tended to really enjoy the 60s era. And watching that after rewatching it, and particularly candidly, when we do something with Troughton and Jamie, I know I'm losing Julie's interest in where we're at in the show for a while because she's immediately then comparing everything to back then. And candidly, the Davison era just isn't winning against that ever.
It's not winning against First Doctor. It was striking to me that not only does the First Doctor have so much character and just pops off the screen, you don't know what he's going to do next. But what's even more interesting is that he isn't, at least he's not portrayed on the show as necessarily being really a trusted guide or trustworthy person from the perspective of the companions. He's literally a force of nature. And to the audience, he's written as someone where you're on this ride with this crazy guide, might trust him, might not trust him. You don't know where he's coming from. He seems okay, but you're not too sure. While Davison just seems like, I don't know, a flat, boring camp counselor that has an anger issues. I mean, that's what it feels like. And I'm like, man, the First Doctor is so awesome compared to that. Not only does he ooze character, but he's a wild card. You don't know where he's coming from. You don't know if he's being honest and what his motives are. It's amazing.
On that point, and this has nothing to do with the animated version that we're talking about. This is the original performances. The story begins where these people are fawning all over the Doctor, and he doesn't quite see what's going on because he's being lauded over and he's just loving every minute of it. But then when they discover what the elders are doing, exploiting the savages, and he turns and he goes on this moral rant against the elders and condemning their actions. Hartnell is so great. And I don't know that there is a Davison moment like that.
That's damning. Yeah. Sitting back and getting to watch one of the late stage Hartnell ones where I do get that really crisp, clear performance from him was really nice because I think this is one of those stories where he was really in his element as the Doctor. He was feeling good those days. He was being able to remember everything and really going to town. It was nice to see that getting that representation back.
And it's always interesting, right? Because after Troughton, and not to say that they weren't physical, but Pertwee obviously went in a very physical direction. We got Mr. James Bond. Tom Baker was always kind of that way as well. And even Davison, to a certain degree, does do a lot more of those types of things with the really, really bad sword fight that happened in King's Demons because it was poor. But with Hartnell, you never got those moments. It was always around the dialogue. And again, it's really the writing. And that's why I always get frustrated because they're not writing dialogue like that for some of these Doctors. They're just not. We
even get the stark difference in even just like Dodo and Tegan. Both are pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Both are pretty wildly annoying. But I feel like I remember liking Dodo more than I ever feel like I remember liking Tegan when I'm not actively watching either of them.
Well, Diana, let me ask you, speaking of Dodo, any thoughts on Dodo's hatred of conducted tours?
Oh my God. Thank you for bringing that up. Because that's why I remember this episode the most.
Oh gosh.
Is being very personally victimized by Dodo, but also wanting to point out that is why you stay with the tour.
Right. Good point.
Is you slip in and out, you don't have to worry about anything. Just get back on the TARDIS and go.
If you ever give a tour and people drift off, you sit them down and make them watch the Savages. And you're like, don't do that again.
We're 30 minutes into a tour of downtown Houston, but here is the Savages.
This is what could happen to you if you wander off.
Also, Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
I'll throw that one in as well. But again, did not hate Dodo as much as I remembered hating Dodo. And it was that reminder of, oh no, when she had stuff written for her and not in reminiscence of anyone else and giving her something to do made Dodo a likable character.
I think the problem for us at the time was we had gone from effectively Vicky to Dodo.
Vicky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And we loved Vicky.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Queen Vicky.
But in fairness, that is Dodo in most of her stories. I think this one is the outlier. She's the proactive one in this story.
Yes.
The doctor is being wooed by these aliens that are in love with him. And she's the one who's like, something's not right here. And she's the one who goes off and explores to find out what it is that she's thinking is wrong. She is the strong one in this story.
She's the Barbara of this story.
She's the Barbara. Correct.
Because Barbara was always the one who drove the stories in the first stories of Doctor Who.
She was the moral heart of the original cast.
And this was even a strong story for Stephen, too, because
Yes,
I remember
it is.
him being an absolute pile of shit.
Oh, God, no. He's not that bad.
He wasted so many people's time just doing nothing.
I remember how hard you were on Stephen on the Rocks, Diana. So
We did not enjoy him. He was absolutely wasting everybody's time. He's pretty.
I very distinctly remember you really going hard on Stephen and then making a point of saying, but Peter Purvis is a wonderful human being.
Oh, he is, though, isn't he?
Yes.
He is.
I love
Yes.
him. I'm so sorry that he had to be cast as Stephen.
Overall, I really enjoyed the animation here, particularly when we got into the city, because that was really the opportunity to reimagine the sets, and that whole part was glorious. The colors of the robes, the force fields, the scene at the end where they destroy all the equipment, it worked so well for me.
I was excited to see the laser guns.
Oh, yeah. There's a part, though, that I don't think succeeds as well. I think we've all seen either the telesnaps or the photos of these sets where there's these long, dark hallways with this really sharp lighting that's in art. There's a term, and I know I'm mispronouncing it, called chiaroscuro, which is the contrast between light and dark. And it is so atmospheric, and you don't get that in the animation. Now, the image that they put on the cover of the animation has that, but you don't really see it in the same way in the actual story. And I think that that's a failing of this animation. Everything seems too flat. It seems too overlit. There's not a lot of atmosphere in this story.
Yeah, the Steelbook particularly has a very moody...
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the TARDIS on the Steelbook.
Yeah, beautiful.
Didn't get to see that because, got it electronically. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, because when they're creeping around in the caves and you're just like, well, it seems pretty bright in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't know where that sun's coming from, but okay. It's like, where did the music come from, I guess? Although I'll die on the hill that the fighting sequences at Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, I'm good that they gave me some light so I could see what was going on. And anyway, I digress. Oh, but because I did some of this in color, I love some of the colors that they decided to do. And since I also watched some of the reconstruction for a split second just to see things, I'm glad they redesigned the helmets of the guard soldier dudes, because before they looked like strips of cardboard.
And they probably were.
And they probably were. And
Exactly.
so now they gave them helmets, and I'm so proud of them for that.
Which will protect them much more from the Savage's spears. It's important.
Well, any more commentary on this? Because we normally re-rate these. I'm ready to re-rate if you guys are.
Well, just one other comment that I would like to add, and that was considering the time period where this serial was made. I believe it was 66.
Yep.
I forgot about the ending, and I mean the ending of them smashing shit. As I was watching it, because you could, this time, since it's animated, you can really see it, I forgot how great of an ending is that. I'm like, how punk rock is that? That is how they should end. When was the last time they've had that on the show where it's like, what's the solution? Just smash everything, just riot, go crazy. I mean, that is amazing. That is wonderful. And I didn't notice it the first time when we watched it 5 years ago, but does anyone get the impression that, particularly with the first Doctor, he was kind of shooing Stephen away, like, no, you should totally leave. This is when you should leave.
Absolutely.
But it's so funny.
Yeah.
That seems to be something that he does. He really just kicks the companions out the TARDIS as it flies away. And they're like, no, I don't want to go. Like, oh, no, you're done. You're done. You're out of here.
He decides that it's time for them to stand on their own 2 feet. He did it with Susan. He did it here with Stephen as well. He's like, yep, time. You're good. You don't need me anymore.
They need to bring that back on the show. They need to bring that back on the show. That would be amazing, because not everything, as much as I like the emotional, tear-jerking drama of it, sometimes you get involved with people and there's some people that you work with and you're ready just to kick them right out of the plane, get them the hell out of here. And I think the Doctor should have that happen again sometime.
I feel like the 12th Doctor would have been the perfect one to do that.
He really would have.
Yes. Of course, he's the perfect Doctor in every way.
Absolutely.
But Reilly, to your point about smashing everything, this is 1966. I don't remember who the author is that wrote this story.
Ian Stewart Black.
Thank you. Must have been a fan of The Who.
Yes.
Because every show ended like that.
He did the War Machines as well, which
yes, he did.
Had some smashing as well.
There's a lot of smashing in that one, too.
I remember when we watched this the first time, we being the royal we here, obviously, because I wasn't there. Watching it the first time, I remember thinking at the end, when they're smashing the shit up, that's why I want them to refine this footage, because either it's epic or it's stupid silly.
Yes.
And either way, we win. Because it is one of my favorite scenes.
Right.
I'm with you on that. I think this will be really, really entertaining to see again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and rate this again. So, last time round, Julie went first. I'm not going to make you do that, Julie.
Yes.
I think I'm going to go with this. And what I'm going to say is I know we have had a history with all but one story. When we have reevaluated it based on an animation, the rating has generally gone up. The exception to that was The Underwater Menace, where it went down. This is unusual for me in that my rating hasn't changed. For me, I gave this 8 out of 10 the first time round. This is still an 8 out of 10. I don't think the animation either adds or takes away. It gives it a slightly different theme, but the core themes behind this, a 60s attempt at an anti-colonial narrative, one that is almost very self-aware of the issues, is still brilliant. Hartnell's at the top of his game. Peter Purvis is good. Even Dodo is good. So for me, the animation's nice. It's good to see, but this was so strong even as a reconstruction. It's still 8 out of 10 hot red-headed savages for me. All right, Julie, if you go next, I will then tell you what you gave it after you have rated it.
Oh, I already know what I gave it because I listened to it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
That's right.
So for those listening at home, Julie gave this 8 out of 10 before as well.
I think I agree, Anthony, in that the animation, I don't think elevates it, but I don't think it detracts. I think that the story remains the story. This is one where the actual writing, what they did with all the characters, was able to be seen throughout, even during the reconstruction time. And so I don't think there's really any change to be made. And so I will also give it 8, because I have to do it, reacting vibrators out of 10.
You jerk! You jerk!
That's right.
I would like to point out, when we did it 5 years ago, that was my metric 5 years ago, and I was going to use it again.
Nope.
All right.
Reilly, do you need a minute to think of a new one?
Yes, please.
All right. Diana, as I already mentioned, you gave this 7.5 on Doctor Who on the Rocks, and you said it was neat. What do you think now you've seen the animation?
Still neat. But I'm going to bring it up to an 8.5 because that's at the very least what you get for removing the blackface. It's unnecessary from the episode.
On the Rocks, you did say it lost to 2 whole points for the blackface.
I'm not willing to go that far. Past Diana was a little bit drunk. I was very drunk.
And you're allowed to change your mind.
Mostly I was drunk. Usually I'm not wrong. But yeah, I'll bring it up to like an 8.5 because it was solid for it to be that good with really just listening to it. Most of them don't work because they need all of the context that's on the screen. But this one has good enough writing that you barely need the visuals anyway. So to have the visuals was icing on the cake. And then to have the good special effects was something really special. I even looked in my old notes and I wrote down, like, I'd love to see the riot scene. Wanted to see the pew pew with the pew pew lasers that didn't really make sense. but we get pew pew off of the mirror and all of that. It was fabulous. This is a really good example of what animation really can bring to these stories. And the people didn't look like they were out of Uncanny Valley. This is the first time I've been not made incredibly uncomfortable by the humans. Incredibly uncomfortable by the humans. So it was really nice to not be wigged out by looking at Steven, because that happens. I'm going with 8.5. At least I'll remember recording this episode.
Nice.
All right, Alan, why don't you go next and then we'll come back to Reilly last.
I absolutely love this one. I think it might be one of my favorite Hartnells. I think he is amazing in it. I think when I did it on my show, I gave it a 7. And I think that I will bump it up to a 7.5. Even though I think there's some fallback from the animation, I think for the most part, it really does a great job of capturing the spirit of this original production. And it's such a great script. And I really love it. So I will say 7.5. And okay, my metric was going to be handheld mirrors as a weapon. But since I never actually talked about that in this episode, I don't know what else to go with. So it's going to be that. So it's 7.5 handheld mirrors as a weapon out of 10.
All right. Last but not least, we will return to Reilly, who hopefully has a new metric now.
I do.
Oh, excellent.
5 years ago, I gave it an 8.5. I didn't realize that I had the highest score out of everyone for it. I really enjoyed it back then. There is absolutely nothing that the animation does to hurt that score. In fact, like I brought up, there are so many scenes where they're traveling, or there's a chase scene, or there's a shootout, or they're fiddling with the knobs, trying to work with the machines, that being able to see it really helps with the flow. Also, looking back at it, I am really impressed with the pacing. So many times, I feel like even on a 4-parter, pacing issues can really come into place. There's nothing like that here. It's just crisp. It has great music. It's got great performances. We've already talked about the script. I really like this one a lot, so it didn't hurt it. I think the animation helped it just a little bit because you get to see everything about all the action scenes and the non-dialogue scenes. So I'm going to give it up from 8.5 to 9 Dr. and Jano Freaky Fridays out of 10.
Damn.
Wow, a 9. That's awesome.
The only thing that's missing from that score for you, Reilly, is to say, suck on that, Davison era.
Yeah, right.
I would be lying if going back and watching a first Doctor serial didn't make me enjoy it more. It's like I've been eating gruel and then I got a fantastic meal and I just appreciate it even more than I did before.
That's fair. Well, obviously the one who we can't get to reevaluate this is Don. Don did give this the first time round an 8.5 like Reilly did.
Oh, so we tied. Okay.
So we had a story average originally of 8.25. For all 5 of us, we get an average of 8.2. If we take out Alan, because Alan, well, he is the unofficial 5th watcher. He is a guest. So you take it back to the main cast, we get 8.38. So we have actually gone up a little bit on the original score. Not by much, but a little bit, which I think is positive. And that's all Reilly. That's that extra half point on Reilly.
Yeah, that's that 9 for you.
So if you do fire me and bring Alan in, just know the Savages will go down in its score.
That's going to be what holds us from the revolution.
Yeah.
I'll adjust my score to make up for it. Because I'm kind of the low one on this one, and I'm surprised because I love it so much. So maybe I should say it's an 8 instead of a 7. I don't know.
We haven't finished. You can bump that up right now if you want, Alan. I'll change that for you. 8.
Yes.
All right, that brings us up to 8.3 for all 5 of us. So even considering all 5 of us, it's an upgrade on our original score. And dear listener, the joke about Alan replacing me is we were getting ready to record. I had a little power outage that kicked me out of the Zoom call and it made Alan the host in my place. And so they decided that they were replacing me with Alan as a result of that. When you return for whatever our next regular episode is, Alan will be your host and there'll be nowhere to be seen.
Welcome to Watchers in the 4th Dimension.
The gag, though, if we set that up.
Let's do it.
Well, with that, we are at an end of the episode. I honestly have no idea what our next regular episode is because we are recording these bonus ones a little out of order. So you'll know because you'll know what our last release one was. But hey, surprise to me. As always, thank you so very much for listening. And of course, until we next put out an episode, have a good one. You have been listening to Watchers in the Fourth Dimension with Julie Philippek, Reilly Schreck, Diana Burney, Alan Siler, and myself, Anthony Williams. This bonus episode, That Is Why You Stay with the Tour, was recorded on Wednesday the 29th of October 2025. If this is your first time listening in, all of our previous episodes are available wherever you like to get your podcasts. You can interact with us on Facebook and Instagram at Watchers4D, and you can also email us at watchers4d@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, please do subscribe and consider leaving us a review or rating on your favorite podcasting app. All of those things really do help the show. And always remember, it really is a beautiful thing when they finally get the animation right with no weirdly long limbs.